Welcome to the celebration of our book, Mission Domination, which has been co-written by Kushan and me. Kushan's first book, and obviously something that is very close to our heart, and two very special people to celebrate Mission Domination. Two very dear friends, two illustrious cricketers who have both left a legacy on the Indian game. One is going to join very soon, one is already there online, and a heartfelt thank you to Parthiv Patel, because he's not even in India. He's with the Mumbai Indians team for the IPL, getting ready in the Emirates. He's joining from there. Parthiv, always you've been a super supporter, somebody I've followed right through my life for your career. We've celebrated your career. Thank you very much. Means a lot that you've joined. Kushan, once again, you and I, we should have been together celebrating, but you deserve a better hairstylist. That's for another day, but that's fine. Many congratulations to you on Mission Domination, and Aakash will soon join in. So that's the plan. So let's get you on straight away, Parthiv. We call it Mission Domination, an unfinished quest, and we actually believe that the quest is unfinished based on some of the results that we've seen. Do you believe this team has it in this team to actually dominate, be the best in the world, win an ICC trophy with minor tweaks? Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think first of all, congratulations, Koshanda and Boryada, for this book, and I wish you all the best. I personally definitely feel, without a doubt, I mean, when someone asks me, can this team win the World Cup? Can this team beat England in England? Can this team beat South Africa in South Africa? If I have to think or assess, I don't think there is any doubt at all. I think the way, obviously, last test match didn't go the way it should have, but I think look at Lord's test match. You're talking about 60 overs where 125 overs were minimum that all three teams played, but India had the character to win that test match in 60 overs. Look at Australia, when Australia series when we won, we did not have our main side. You talk about, say, 2018, where Australia did not have their main players, but here we did not have our main players. We still went on to win a test match, which was unthinkable. No one ever thought. So this team is definitely destined to achieve a lot of things. Yes, of course, with a slight bit of tweaks here and there, or maybe playing a right 11 at the right surface would be even more beneficial for this team.
Kushan, if you have the book at hand, why don't you show it? We'll post Parthiv's copy to the Emirates. There it is, yeah. Kushan's, the book Mission Domination. I wanted you to show it, Kushan, because I know what it means to you, to both of us, but of course more to you. Well done again. Kushan, your favorite story from the book, before I ask Parthiv. Aakash says he's joining, having some issue with some hotspot, but he'll join in a moment. Kushan, your favorite story from the book?
I believe every story in this book, because the amount of effort that both of us have put in, so I can't really differentiate between one story. But yes, as I've always said in some of the other programs as well, the Cheteshwar Pujara's story, the way he came up, the struggles that he faced, and how Arvind Pujara narrated how he picked up pieces after his mother's death, that is something that will stay with me, I believe, for a long, long time. And it was such a wonderful sight to see Cheteshwar score runs, answer his detractors, and actually he kept the game alive. It was he and Rohit Sharma, both of them, and obviously partially Virat Kohli, who kept the game alive, and we had the match went to the fourth day. But Cheteshwar Pujara, a real inspiration for me.
Okay, Nita, if you're there, Aakash says you need to let Aakash in. So can you please let Aakash in? He says he is there. Let me in. So please get Aakash in. Parthiv, we celebrate the Indian fast bowling team a lot in this book. We've talked to Bharat, we've talked to Shardul, we've talked to Siraj, we've talked to the others. In many ways, Indian cricket owes Jasprit Bumrah to you. So give us that backstory. No, seriously, there's Aakash Chopra. How can you be late? You are the internet and digital king. Several Mission Domination episodes will get cancelled out because of this delay.
No, Boria, I'm really sorry. Sorry, everyone. I'm late because everybody told me that when you go to England as an opener, you must be late. First, play late. Don't go searching. Just be late. Play late. So that's why I'm a little late. Sorry about that.
Correct. देखो manage कर लिया तुमने. Champion है आकाश. Parthiv, the question that the Jasprit Bumrah story, because this is all about backstories, and I'm going to ask Aakash quite a few because he's been part of that, the opening that he talked about. So tell us, Parthiv.
See, obviously, Jasprit Bumrah came in the scene when, first time when Gujarat won Mushtaq Ali, back in 2013, I think. He was someone who was very raw, who has not played under 19 cricket, who has not played, I think one season of under 23. But I thought, every time, first time I saw him in the nets, and it felt like, someone was hitting the ball really hard. And that's how you judge a first-class bowler, or that's how you judge someone, who has not played a higher class of cricket, whether his ball's coming and hitting you on the bat or not. And he was completely different. And then I think what I can see about his progress is the determination, the discipline which has shown throughout this 6-7 years. Everyone talks about that. John Wright, obviously, saw him in Ahmedabad where he actually did bowl that ball where he bowled a bouncer and it went over me, which is not a very big effort though. Anyone can bowl a bouncer and can go over me, but it actually went from a good length and kicked. But yeah, he's shown a lot of discipline after playing for, say, couple of years of international cricket and IPL. He was predominantly in-swinger bowler, and then he started bowling those straighter ones and then outswing. Yorker, definitely, it's not gifted to him. You can't just say that, the Yorkers are gifted to him. He works hard on his Yorkers. Every time the nets finishes, he would, go aside and bowl those Yorkers. Will put you and bowl about 24 Yorkers a day in every day. So it is a developed skill. He had that, but he had developed it and he has mastered it. That is the reason why he could do it under pressure more often than not. But this fitness and everything, even while lockdown, you would see him coming to training at 12:30 in the afternoon and try and exercise, try and run in that heat so that, he's ready for that bigger challenge. So it's all a lot of hard work with a lot of smartness as well.
Okay. Aakash, as an opener, and one of my favorite chapters in the book is Rohit Sharma. Having spoken to Rohit, so I'll tell my story, but your thoughts. Mission Domination owes a lot to Rohit Sharma and the opener. Always will. Your show is also called Mission Domination, so you are, we think the same, Kushan, me, yourself. So your thoughts on Rohit as an opener, and how have you seen Rohit from Australia and in England? Are you impressed? Your thoughts on Rohit?
Well, see, when we talk about Rohit Sharma, of course, firstly, congratulations to both of you for Mission Domination. I hope it's a roaring success. When we talk about Rohit, you see evolution. And when you see somebody who's a runaway match winner in white ball cricket, he was also, in a sense, was pigeonholed that after 2030, whatever test matches he played, that, he's more of a one-day player, a white ball legend, but he's not been able to make the cut for test cricket. Now, whether he got enough opportunities or not, whether he threw him away, it's a different story. But he was given that one last opportunity. Similarly, when he opened for cricket as well, that was at that point in time was considered as the last opportunity. Let's try this and see what happens. So similarly, it happened in India. There were a couple of other candidates who could have been picked at that point in time. Rohit was trusted with that role, considering that his potential and the white ball performances, and with a thought that, if he clicks, now he is a match winner in all formats. But the question was, will he click? Or will it be a different story as a test opener? And it actually, right from get-go, first game, Vizag, I remember him and Mayank got together against South Africa, both just scored bucket full of runs and in great style. And that's what you would get from Rohit, is what we thought. That if he's on a roll, he'll just he'll go on a rampage, he'll destroy attacks, and in a matter of a couple of sessions, the game is yours. So that was all great, but then missed out on a couple of games in New Zealand, missed out on a couple of games in Australia. And then even in Australia, you didn't see a marked difference with regards to what he was trying to achieve, because, of course, there were only a couple of matches. He got some runs in one, not in the other. But the main difference now, when you see the Sharma, the test opener, is concerned, I think what we are seeing of Rohit Sharma now is something that very few had envisaged. Because just considering that he's got such a great game with regards to stroke play, would he now start putting in a price on his wicket? Will he try and adopt a very different kind of role? Will he not be like Virender Sehwag in test match cricket and be someone else? he chose to be someone else. And that I thought was difficult, because when we over a period of time, when we judge greatness, I think adaptability is definitely one of the boxes that one must tick. And this is what we are seeing from Rohit: adaptability. Just an acknowledgement and acceptance that I need to change certain things. And he's gone ahead and done that. Is it only mind over matter? I don't think so. You need to practice. You need to train your mind. Yes, maybe mind over matter, but you still need to spend enough time to train your mind to behave a certain way, and then not fall, or rather go back to the old habits. Old habits die hard. He's also a multi-format player. In 2 weeks time, he'll be playing the IPL. So he'll have to once again don a different hat and play a different brand of cricket. But what we have seen of Rohit is amazing. It's path breaking in a sense, and it is also a lesson for a lot of people here that whoever is aspiring to be a cricketer, that you can be this, you can be that, and you can be everything as well, if you train your mind enough. That's his story.
Okay. My story from the book, as far as Rohit is concerned, both Kushan and I, we had started the process of writing. And every day when Rohit was in Australia, we used to call him when he was in quarantine. So we would count with him, day 1, day 2, day 3. And he kept saying that, look, and by the way, his daughter's birthday was during his quarantine period. And he said, even your enemy shouldn't have to go through this hard quarantine of 14 days. That's how bad it was in Sydney. The team was in Melbourne. And when he was nearing, I actually told him, Kushan, he remembers, both of us told him, you know what, Rohit, you've played the IPL for MI, you've won. Why did you go to Australia? You will take the field in a test match without playing anything for 2 months. You have the chance of failing. And he said, I'm happy to fail. I'm happy to fail, but I want to play red ball cricket for India. That's my dream. My legacy, I'll tarnish it. How does it matter? I'll fail, but I will play red ball cricket. My respect for that man went up 20 notches. Parthiv, you will see him soon as captaining the same team, your team. You've played with Rohit Sharma. You've seen that fellow evolve as a cricketer. Your thoughts on Rohit Sharma?
I think, see, honestly speaking, when I played first under him 2015, then the Rohit Sharma captain then and the Rohit Sharma captain now is a big difference. You could see him, just to me, I think his biggest statement is that, yes, I'm the captain of the side, but I'm the least important player of the side. That means that, he knows that he's not the only one who needs to win games. He knows it's just a team game. He wants everyone to come together. The importance which he shows in young players, like he did in 2015 in Hardik Pandya, like, Bumrah in 2014. So there are a lot of young players who have, evolved from being a normal IPL player to out and out match winners for India. Those have not, I'm not saying that those were only, nurtured in IPL under Mumbai Indians or Rohit Sharma. The first class teams also have a role to play, but then IPL has a role to play in that as well. And to me, I think, he, even when I remember, when we were doing the show, I told Aakash that another thing which, comes across in my mind is that it was hurting to Rohit Sharma that he wasn't getting to play test cricket. I remember in South Africa when I got out, he told me that, put a prize on your wicket. You are getting to play test cricket, value it. It's not that I wasn't, but it was a loose stroke. So, that it shows that he badly wanted to do well for India in test cricket. And that attitude, you can see it now. It's as Aakash said, it's not a overnight thing. It's just a process, and that will to do well in test cricket, which you can see it in Rohit Sharma's attitude right now and his performance as well.
Great story. And in fact, just to add, after the Headingley test, I had a brief chat with him, and I said, Rohit, you were looking good. One expects a big one. Yes, both innings you were in. And he said, yes, I was in, but I'm still not batting the way I want to. And I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, but you know what? I'm still not batting the way I want to. I still need to put in a little bit more. I can get there. So that's the kind of hunger, Kushan. Moving on, I want to talk about someone Parthiv can explain a lot as well. Kushan, one of your favorite chapters in the book, I know, Rishabh Pant. Talk to me about that chapter, the backstory of that chapter. Tell me.
The backstory of that chapter basically starts with a Ranji Trophy match which was played some 6 years back, and Rishabh Pant had come into the Delhi side, like no need of explaining to Aakash bhai, who knows in the Delhi cricket like the back of his hand. There was a wicketkeeper who played before Rishabh Pant, and for 3 matches he couldn't even score 5 runs. And after that, finally the selection committee relented, and this boy who was doing really well in the under-19s at the Kuch Bihar Trophy level, he was brought in. And first thing that you see is that he got under the skin of Bengal captain Manoj Tiwari. Manoj himself is a very fierce customer, but getting under the skin of Manoj Tiwari while keeping up, and then hitting a big 6 of Pragyan Oja. It landed on the Ambedkar Stadium side. It landed on the top tier of Firozshah Kota, and that was his first match. And Pragyan Oja, mind it, by that time probably was on the wane, but still, nevertheless, a test bowler with 100 plus test wickets, a bowler of pedigree, and he treated him with disdain. So after the match, me and a very dear friend of mine, Arani Basu, we went up and chatted with Riddhiman Saha, who was playing that match for Bengal. He had come back from Australia to a tour, having played the test matches. He had come back, and we asked him that, what do you make of this boy? He said that what I see is very different. And when I mean different, it's different on the better side of it. We'll hear a lot about this guy. And this was the first Ranji match that this boy was playing. And he comes from a very good pedigree of Delhi cricket, from which Aakash bhai also belongs, that is Sonnet Club. And Aakash bhai can tell us more about the culture that Sonnet Club.
Okay, so let me ask that. Let me ask that to you, Aakash. Tell me about that. Tell me about that culture, and also please address the question that our country, again, Rishabh Pant winning 2 test matches, the greatest. Rishabh Pant failing a couple of test matches, the worst, throw him out. So that is India. So please, for both of you have been there, you have faced this as well. Can you put that to rest once and for all, this nonsense that this country does? 1 bad test, everybody's bad, throw them out. Address that as well, Aakash, and tell me about Sonnet Club and the Delhi culture.
See, Sonnet Club, we've got this table where must have produced more test cricketers, first-class cricketers than any other stable in the country. And so eventually Mr. Sinha got the Dronacharya Award, so I have recognition as well. But I think it's basically, how do I put it? It's a very kind of world where you got to be street smart to survive, and there are more people pulling you down than pushing you up. And then you end up playing for Delhi and India and whatever else in spite of the system and not because of the system. So you got to be bloody good to actually go through that net which is trying to stop you, and then you just make your way through, and you end up playing for the country, or continuously play for your state, and you have to do well, otherwise you can't play. It's as simple as that. So Rishabh Pant comes from that. My paths with Rishabh Pant, they haven't really crossed as much, even though he comes from my stable, but by the time he came, I was off. So I don't really know him personally. I know of him. I've heard about him even when he was growing up. So Ashish would tell me, maybe a dear friend another would tell me, there's this kid who looks very good, Aakash. You see, he'll do well. Fair play. And we get to hear those stories. And then he went on to do what he did. So Delhi does prepare you for all kinds of things. That's Delhi culture. Cricketing culture, so to speak, very competitive. When we talk about drop him and unplay him, see, how does it matter, to be honest, Puria? Yes, it matters if you are on social, if you are following what people are saying who actually don't matter. So yes, it matters if you are putting, like, you're listening to them. But beyond that, is the team actually listening to them? The day you get a feeling that the team is listening to the chatter, that is when the problem starts. It's the day when people like you or Kushan, they start writing about it. Rishabh, the time is over or whatever. Then of course there is some credibility to that news and noise. Currently there is just noise and there is no credibility. That you got a Twitter handle with an egg as your display picture. What he says matters nothing. So allow all that to happen. It will continue to happen. Let's be very honest. We live in this world called which is of social media. It will continue to happen. They'll praise you to 7 heavens. They'll bring you down to earth like that. But if you allow yourself to actually fly when people are talking great, then that because one bad innings, one bad tournament, you lose the final, you bowl a no ball, you're done. So this is how fickle it is, but it will always be this fickle. So anybody who's playing for India, of course, if you want to enjoy the status of those demigods and then be the revered individuals in this country, it is a part of the package. It's all right. Noise without any credibility means nothing.
Okay, Parthiv, Rishabh as a keeper. Now let us just understand that as well. I mean, as a batter, you've played in all these countries. In Australia, played some important innings. England, very important innings. Same stadium. So Rishabh as a batter and as a keeper. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I'll first talk about Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper, because I've had that first-hand experience with him. I was on the tour of 2018 where India won that series, where I was second wicketkeeper of the tour. I think what I really liked about Rishabh Pant is to will to improve. He knew then in 2018 that he's not a finished product as a wicketkeeper to play for India. He has to improve, and that he knew it. And everyone knows about it. And when he came to Indian side, he was still work in progress. And in 2018 tour, he was working really hard on his wicket keeping. After every session, he would come and sit with me and watch videos. Where can he improve? What can he do? What are the drills he can do? What would Ian Healy do on that Australian surface, or Adam Gilchrist do? All sort of things he would keep on asking. He was always curious about that country's wicketkeeper, where he's going to keep. How would they talk? Because I had that thing of talking to Ian Healy or Gilchrist, and he wanted to get that knowledge out so that he would feel comfortable. He would say that I have experienced all of that, hearing what Ian Healy or Adam Gilchrist has to do. So, and working hard on top of that. It's not just looking at videos, not just try and see game, but to work hard. He has worked really hard on his wicket keeping, where you can see it in England. We are not talking about Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper, at all in last couple of series. That means that is the reason where it shows that he's improved wicket keeping immensely. I think to me the greatest thing would be the way he kept wickets in India against England. Those were very, very difficult wickets to keep. To Akshar Patel or yes, Ashwin. There was no Ravindra Jadeja, but Akshar Patel and Ashwin, I thought he kept brilliantly. The couple of stumpings which he took down the leg side. There was one went between the legs. We do all of that drills in practices, and to translate that into game is completely different thing, because you need to concentrate. First, you're doing those drills in practice and you're expecting it. In game, you're not expecting a batsman to get beaten between two legs. But he was still there. That's because he has worked hard. So that's obviously a huge tick mark on Rishabh Pant, the wicketkeeper, and Rishabh Pant, the attitude towards wicketkeeping. I think that's something is very, very important if you want to succeed as a wicketkeeper. And as a batter, of course, I mean, he's far better than anyone else who has played in Test cricket. Scoring 100 in England, scoring 100 in Australia. Obviously the 100 which people do not talk much about, the 100 which he scored in Ahmedabad. That Test match was actually on a 50-50, where if England had managed to got us out, India wouldn't have even played that World Test Championship final if India had not won it. That was very crucial 100. So all his runs are coming in on a situation where Test match could go either side. So that means he has the ability to handle pressure. Pace is Australia 1 year's handle, swing. Another is England. He's got 200s there, the 100 there, and spin India. So he has all the ability. There is only one thing which as a former player I would say is understanding the situation. Nothing to take away from his natural game. He's Rishabh Pant because he can do things which no one else can do it. That is why we know the Rishabh Pant match winner. So just understanding the situation slightly better, and I'm sure I've seen Adam Gilchrist from behind. I think, and I'm looking at Rishabh Pant. I think Rishabh Pant right now is way better, way more destroying than Adam Gilchrist was.
Wow, big statement there from Parthiv Patel. Let's address the elephant in the room. Mission Domination, lot about his captaincy style, aggressive nature. I have interviewed him, spoken to him, perhaps more than many other journalists. And I have my own take, which I've written in the book, Kushan and I, about Virat. But it's important to address this whole aggressive nature Aakash, you go first. What's your
Hmm.
take on this? I mean, Virat Kohli, the captain, this breed of cricket. What's Aakash Chopra's candid take on it?
Oh, well, see, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? So when you see the numbers that his team has managed over the last 5 6 years, you first need to respect that. Whatever it is, the fact is, even if you don't like him, you hate him. He's been the most successful Indian captain. Now, how do you become that? Of course, you start or rather you just side, which is again walking the talk himself. And he's just growing as a captain as well. Nobody starts as a finished product, and then you keep evolving till the time you actually are on the field. So Virat Kohli has done some stellar things in India's Test cricket history, is what I feel. One, of course, the runs that he scored, because the moment you score those many runs, you tell everyone, this is the benchmark. This is the new benchmark. Let's try and achieve that. So collectively, you start improving as a team, and that's what Sachin did even when he was not the captain. Right, he was not the captain all the time, but Sachin was doing that every single time he was going out to bat, because everybody around him felt, this is where we need to go, because we see this human in blood and flesh, and he sit next to us. He does this. Okay, let's improve our game. Let's up the bar a little. That's point one. Secondly, he started uh, uh, he started playing five bowlers. He started talking about winning games. Yes, I do feel once in a while a draw is still a fairly decent option, and you must take it if it is available. It's still better than a loss. But he's worked on a philosophy which is either win then loss, and if nothing happens, then it's a draw. So draw was always in between somewhere. Initially, India was always about draw first, overseas, draw first, then try and win, and then last is of course the loss. But now is this change that, okay, first is let's go for a win, let's play a team that allows you to win. Then okay, if we fail in that pursuit, it's okay, we are happy to lose, and if nothing happens, then loss. So that is a huge paradigm shift in my opinion. The way this team has started playing its cricket, and he's walking the talk. Let's be fair, there is criticism. You'll find in a couple of days time that he's still fielding five bowlers. Yes, there is, once again, if you are in those echo chambers, you know that the cries are getting louder. Get another batsman. Your keeper is not scoring runs. You haven't scored runs. Why not play another batsman? It takes a lot of conviction. It takes a lot of conviction and belief to do and back what you think is right. Because talking and walking, that are two very different things. More so for an Indian captain, because the kind of pressure we put him in, whether we like it, hate it, whichever way it is, this is how it is. It is difficult. It is one of the most
Okay.
difficult jobs in the world going around, and he's done very well.
Let me take it to Parthiv with Virat, the batsman, before I go to Kushan with the first question from one of the audience. Parthiv, Virat, the batsman, so much talk, not getting 100, not getting 100. Your thoughts? I mean, he still scored very important runs. He still looked very good. The 50s also matter. Sachin used to tell me when that 100 pressure was on that he got a 76. The headline was Sachin 24 short. He said, what nonsense is this? I mean, and he had won a match against the West Indies. So, we are like that. Your thoughts on Virat Kohli, the batsman?
I think it's just why do we talk about all these hundreds and stuff? Because someone was getting hundreds for breakfast. That's how Virat Kohli was scoring runs. That is the reason why we talk about it. That is the reason why we are saying that Virat Kohli hasn't scored 100 in 70. That's not 2 years now, and 19. So that's something we will talk about it, and it goes with greatness as well. Someone is as great as Virat Kohli. When we talk about greatest player of generations, there is Sachin Tendulkar, now there is Virat Kohli. So all these things it's part and parcel of your stature, and that's what Virat Kohli is. So then, I mean, there's no harm in expecting him to score 100, because we know that he will get 100. Every time we talk about Virat Kohli, is that okay? This inning, okay, he didn't get 100. Never mind, he'll get in another inning. But we will talk about it no matter what. But yeah, I think obviously there are some different things in how he was batting in 2018 and in England tour, and now what he's batting. He's chasing the ball and all sort of things. But I think to me, the third day, the way he batted, the way he was driving it, the way he was, leaving the ball, I think if he follows that template, which, he's talked about the team stuff, if he follows that template, I'm sure the 100 is not far. And these are great players. The great players, they actually, surprises you lots of time. The moment you think that, he might not have a great tour, and then he'll come back and score a double hundred. Think about Sachin Tendulkar, that 2004 Australia tour, 241, and then he didn't even score a 50 in that series. So we're talking about great players, and we're talking about great Virat Kohli. So I am expecting him to get runs, and then obviously with that, I'm sure he'll win the Test series as well.
I'll come to Aakash on that. Kushan, you take this from Jenny Angel. That's the question. You've spoken to Hanuma Vihari. What was India's actual plan for the last day in Sydney, and initial thoughts of Vihari and Ashwin? You've spoken to Hanuma in your chapter when you wrote. Both of us spoke to Hanuma at length, but you spoke to him more times while writing. So tell us about Hanuma Vihari.
Well, what Hanuma told us was till Rishabh was batting and Rishabh was going great guns, attacking Nathan Lyon, and also at the other end, Pujara, after the lunch break, Pujara also opened up, having initially defended. So they were thinking of a victory there also, 300 odd runs, and they were thinking of victory. But after Rishabh got out and Pujara got out, they had to down the shutters, and Vihari, as we all know, his hamstring snapped. And he had to play through immense pain. And you ask any cricketer, we have two international cricketers of repute sitting with us, and they will tell us that hamstring pain it's at a different level, and you can't run. Your movements are hampered. And Vihari told us that at that point when Ashwin came in, he told Ashwin that, why don't you take Nathan Lyon, because it's difficult for me to stretch and play. At least you can stretch and negate him. I cannot do that. Rather, I will take the paces. If they're bowling shot, I can at least stand there and at least deliver. And that was the basic plan. One over after another, they were taking it, because there's no question. And mind it, Ashwin had back spasms. If people remember, he was not even sitting there in the dressing room because he was having that problem. He couldn't sleep the night before the final day. So he was also fighting his own physical battle. So there were two people who were basically crushing the pain barriers to see through that India, and that draw was as good as victory. Like every one of us celebrated, every dot ball was celebrated. And what an innings by Vihari. And the best story is that R. Sridhar told me that when he came back at the tea break, Sridhar told him that, Vihari, this team has backed you. You have been given chances. This is your time to pay back. And when he came back after the game was over, he probably told R. Sridhar that, sir, you told me I have done it, because Sridhar was his coach when he was 11 years old. He was, in fact, when Sridhar left cricket and formed his own coaching academy, Hanuma Vihari was one of his first students. So there is a special student-teacher relationship.
Nice. Aakash, somebody who gets trolled on a daily basis much more than you or I ever will, as coach Ravi Shastri. I've written, that's one of my favorite chapters in the book, because Ravi and I are great friends. Everybody knows that. So your thoughts on Ravi, Bharat and this coaching unit, because both of them are dealt with at length in this book. Bharat as the bowling coach, Ravi as head coach. Your thoughts on the pair?
See, they've done well. Their results are there for everyone to see. So who is anyone to argue? Of course, you can troll people, and who are trollers? Trollers are people who actually haven't achieved anything in their life, and it's their favorite pastime. They are the ones who used to burn effigies. Now they troll people. That's it. So Ravi has there is every generation needs a certain kind of coach, Boria. That's what I feel. When you look at this Indian team, this is the current 11, the last 11 that played at Headingley, is the most experienced Indian international side at this point in time, bar none. Cumulative test experience, this team had the most. So when you're looking at a team which is now experienced, where everybody's got like 7, 8, 10 years of test cricket behind them, you don't need people to come in and now just start coaching that, okay, your head is falling, of course, once in a while. But there are much bigger issues that you would want to address. and they're mental, they're not, they're psychological, they're not really technical. Domain expertise, or rather the domain experts anyway. There is a Bharat, there is a Vikram Rathore as a batting coach, there is a Sridhar for fielding coach, and all of that. They're enough. So Ravi's role is very different. It's to ensure that the team environment is brilliant. They are able to bounce back from defeats, and they realize their potential. I think that's the biggest achievement that Ravi should be proud of and will be proud of. That he's allowed people to blossom. And that's the most important thing when you are the head coach of a team of a senior team as India, and with your domain experts with you. So that's Ravi. But Bharat, the bowling unit, if they're doing well, if they were not doing well, you would obviously point fingers at the bowling coach. So if they're doing well, please give the man some credit. I think he deserves a lot of credit that the bowling unit has become this world-beating bowling unit. So Bharat Arun must be doing something really right, which others may not have done in the past. So Bharat Arun and our man Ravi Shastri, they deserve a lot of applaud. And one more guy who's not a part of this team right now, but who laid the foundation was Sanjay Bangar. I thought he should have been given. He should have been around. Actually, he should be there right now. Is my opinion, my personal opinion. But I think what we are seeing now. Sometimes you see the tree and then you reap rewards, but you forget about where they've come from. So the seed was sown by Sanjay Bangar. So I think the whole coaching environment has to be applauded.
Parthiv, you've been there as part of the team with Ravi and Bharat. So thoughts on, because you've got first hand. I mean, all my conversations, Kushan's conversations have been different. I mean, we are of a different profession. You've been part of that dressing room under these two. I, for example, loved, I mean, I spoke to Bharat for about 45, 50 hours for this book. Ravi, I don't know how many number of times, but you've been part of that. Your thoughts on Ravi and Bharat?
I think this team is a true reflection of what Ravi Shastri's attitude was, the grit and determination, and never say died attitude. That's something you can always see it. I think to me, Ravi's biggest strength is to give you that confidence all the time, no matter how bad you are playing, no matter if you're not doing if you're not scoring runs, but the way he talks is completely different. He gives you that wings to be, if I have to tell you, if I can, relate one test match where I was sent opening in Johannesburg, difficult conditions. Rabada was bowling unbelievable well. Ravi Shastri comes to me and says, "Chakar Rabada ka kabada kar de." And it's something, it's unbelievable kind of a thing which he says, and then with a tremendous amount of confidence he gives. So that's Ravi Shastri, and I mean, and you can see it the way teams playing, especially 2019's Australia win. I think that was a true reflection of his character. Here also, I think the lines which he has spoken, we will be carrying Indian wickets everywhere in the world. So it doesn't matter. You give us green top, you give us flat wicket. We are taking pitches out of the equation. Give whatever you want, and these are things which it gives a team a lot of confidence, which is Ravi Shastri. And as Aakash said, it was one of another. My point was that we do not give enough credit to Sanjay Bangar. I think he took over as batting coach on a difficult time where technically everyone was doubting themselves when Duncan Fletcher asked everyone to spread their legs and make it a wider stance. I think that's where everyone was getting difficulties in scoring runs, and Sanjay Bangar came in and actually had to convince all the greats of Indian batsmen that this is not the right stance. You got to try and narrow it down and then score runs. So that's where I don't think we give enough credit to Sanjay Bangar as well. I think, and same with Bharat Arun, the planning and everything has been spot on all the time. And as you said you've spoken to him for so many hours, the sense of humor which he comes in with, no matter what happens in the situation, he would come up with some lines which would just lighten the mood, and then you try and go out there and perform again. And that's something which Ravi Shastri and this coach unit has done.
The other thing I loved about Bharat Parthiv is his understanding of sports science. I mean, we've spoken about sports science for hours and hours, and that fellow has superb understanding of sports science. I know you've got to go in 5 minutes, Parthiv. We'll close the show in about 10. Kushan, you take the next one before I go to Parthiv. It's from Debashish. Why isn't there a day-night test match in England? Is it possible? And should we play more test matches in New Zealand? So take both, Kushan.
with actually, as per the FTP, I'll answer the New Zealand first. Like with New Zealand, as per the FTP, right now, the FTP, it's determined by the two countries, what they decide. So 5 tests is what we play against England, and 4 against Australia, and against New Zealand, it's a 2-test series for some time being now that we have been playing. We had played 3 test matches earlier also, and 4 during Tiger Patori's time, but now we play 2 test matches, whether it's here or in New Zealand. And about England, probably they haven't warmed up to the day-night test matches. More like I do not know exactly. I shouldn't be commenting on what ECB stand is, but India was always fine playing the normal traditional test matches, and also in England, where the temperature becomes a big issue. So playing that final hour, or also till 9:30 in the evening, till 9 o'clock, you have the daylight. So when would you have the floodlights on? At 11 in the evening? So that's a practical issue that we have in England. Like we've all been to England so many times, so we know that. Like that's a practical issue that we have had. And Boria, if with your permission, I wanted to ask Aakash a question.
No, but let's because Parthiv has to go. So let's ask Parthiv one because he has practice. Then you ask Aakash because Aakash is with us for the next 15 minutes till 7. Parthiv, so now the big one. I mean, mission domination. Can India win this series? Realistically, is it right to expect? Aakash's show, our book. We are all saying this team has it in them to win in England, beat everybody, win the World Cup. Parthiv Patel being part of this setup. Your thoughts, candidly, does this team have it to win an ICC trophy?
Oh, without a doubt, I don't have a single doubt in my mind that whether this team can win ICC tournament or this team can win this series. I think this team has everything everything in them to win and be the mission domination which you talk about, that that can dominate the world cricket for another 5-10 years. If you look at our history, what we were in 2000s, what we were in 2010s, and now where we are, I think we are just improving unit, and we're going to keep on improving, and we're going to keep on dominating, and my hopes are very high. Though there is World Cup every year, but I feel that India can become world champion. There is no doubt about it, and this is the right time and right team to do it as well.
Superb. I know Parthiv's got to go for practice. That's what he and I had discussed. So Parthiv, Thank you very much for being part of this. Appreciate. You can still play. Huh? I mean, you're looking leaner since we last talked. So please try that out if you want to again. But you've got
Aakash is making me work hard. That's the reason why I'm looking lean.
Correct. Super. Parthiv, thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Parthiv.
Kushan, your question to Aakash.
Yeah, my question, like I want to just pick Aakash bhai's brain about something that is his domain, that is the batting technique. Like at times, I do get a feeling that Pant is hurrying a bit when he's going out and charging the bowlers. Probably we always talk about respecting the conditions, respecting the bowler, and also there is a philosophy of trying to take the attack back to the opposition camp. So where exactly do you find, like, is there a bit of a confusion, or you think that probably it's only a execution part that is going wrong? Like, what is it you think, Aakash?
See, Kushan, very difficult to actually get into somebody's head and understand what their game plan is. But the Rishabh Pant that we've all admired in the last 6 months, the Ahmedabad century that Parthiv was talking about, the Sydney innings that we talk about, the Brisbane chase that we talk about, the 50 that he scored on the Chennai pitch. So every single time we saw Rishabh Pant actually respecting the conditions. Of course, that didn't stop him from being Rishabh Pant, but he was respecting the conditions, and by which I mean he didn't go against the spin in Chennai or Ahmedabad. He went with the spin. Of course, after second new ball, he had the audacity to reverse sweep or reverse scoop James Anderson for a 4. But he still was respecting the conditions. So that is the only thing. The one thing that we have started admiring is that Rishabh Pant is, yes, he's a daredevil, but he's a daredevil with some amount of restraint and caution. So what we are seeing right now is not the same Rishabh Pant. We see him dancing down the pitch every second ball, third ball. Now, what that game plan is, If it comes off, of course, it's great. But I like Parthiv earlier mentioned, I think there is a need to just trust his defense and his knowledge of where the off stump is a bit more, because he does have the strokes, right? When the moment he comes out to bat, they are on the back foot. They're putting a deep point in, a square leg in, and all of that. Now, if you allow yourself a bit more time, you'll be in a better position to capitalize on that. Just that reputation that you've built. So far, they've been waiting for this time bomb to explode. He's not exploded yet, but then oval might be a different thing, because that pitch might be of his liking also. And let's see if he gets in, he gets going in. He needs to get going, because my other thought is, Pant must score runs for Kohli to continue with the template of playing 5 bowlers, because if he is not contributing, then the tail becomes a little too long. So then the bridge is broken between the top and the tail. So he is that bridge. He's the most important member in the team with regards to that template. If he fires, that template looks beautiful. But if he doesn't fire, then the template gets questioned, because one very important link hasn't, or rather has just misfired.
I actually agree with you there, Aakash. I entirely agree. In fact, tweeted the other day that he's the most important member. But take that, Aakash. So, is it mission domination? Is your show is your show and our book going to stand at the end of the series? What's your candid thought? I mean, of course, it can go the other way. But sitting today, your thought?
India will win it. So India will win it. I'll tell you why I feel that way, because a win at Lord's didn't really guarantee a win at Leeds. So it's very important to remind ourselves that a loss at Leeds does not guarantee a loss at the Oval. Strangely enough, it's a very strange thing to say, but when you looked at the Indian team after the Lord's Test match, there were more questions to address than they have to address now after the Leeds loss. Because after Lord's, you were still wondering whether Pujara is back. You were also thinking, okay, is Kohli going to actually fire? Yes, you know that he will fire, but 3 innings had passed, and then will that some amount of time that he'll be able to spend in the middle. Rahane, of course, 61. So Rahane is one area which still hasn't been addressed properly, maybe. But Pujara, I think, is critical. So and Kohli has scored runs. So when Pujara does well, invariably Kohli also does well. And we were actually digging some stats for our show as well. And they tend to complement it. That if Pujara is doing well, he's a perfect foil to an aggressive Virat Kohli. So things, in my opinion, they look a little better. Jadeja didn't have a single wicket till this test match. He's got 2 now. He's already scored runs. You've got Bumrah picking wickets. He's been picking wickets any which way. Ishant was a little off color, but then you have plenty of options available to you. There is a Ravichandran Ashwin who's sitting outside and might just, because he played for Surrey, he knows that ground. This pitch tends to help spinners a bit more. He could be in. So you've got plenty of positives going for you. The only roadblock that I see is England is also slightly better placed as compared to what they were earlier. So their openers firing, David Malan, now Butler getting rested, and Bairstow keeping, that means Billings coming in, Vokes being fit. So suddenly their team looks a little more competent as well. But this team has it then to actually now turn it around, win this test match at the Oval, and then just go for glory at Manchester.
Okay. Kushan, final one to you before I go to Aakash, because 5 more minutes and I'll close the show. Actually, this is the thought that I got from the Indian team, having spoken to them after Leeds. Not even a single guy I spoke to said, oh, you know what, everybody told me we are going for the jugular, so we are going to win. And I remember this conversation with Bharat Arun one day. In fact, Kushan, you know about it, 9:40 a.m. in the morning, the day after India lost that Chennai test match, and I called him and I said, now, he said 3-1. And I said, what? You lost by some 200-300 runs, you're talking 3-1. What nonsense. So he said, 3-1. Telling you 3-1, relax. So this team does have that zing, this zing that will make a comeback. Yes, you can say inconsistent, whatever you want to say, you say, but this team does have it in them to make a comeback. Kushan, your thoughts? I mean, when you've written Mission Domination, spoken to all these cricketers together, does this team sound different to you?
Yeah, they do. Like for them, draw is not an option. As Virat Kohli also said that day, that the moment you play with 4 bowlers, you can always debate till the cows come home, that whether he's right or wrong. But the fact of the matter that the captain of the team, the leader, believes that playing 4 bowlers is an option where you have a draw or a loss as the 2 results. Winning is not a result, and this team doesn't play for a draw. So 4 bowlers is not an option. So that speaks of the mindset. For them, the first 3 options are win, 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 as Aakash Bhai said. And Bharat Arun also imbibed that. Like Bharat Arun, you are so close to Bharat Arun. I have seen Bharat Arun as Bengal's head coach, and I can vouch for it that that was the year a strange thing happened in Bengal cricket. We played on green tracks. The Bengal Ranji team played on green track. They were losing, but they were still playing on green tracks. The bowlers were doing well, and Bengal got relegated from the Ranji Trophy. But within a month, they were playing. A relegated team was playing the Vijay Hazare Trophy finals, and they didn't stop attacking. That is Coach Bharat Arun's conviction, and from there, at that moment when he was with the Vijay Hazare Trophy team, he got a call from the National Cricket Academy that they wanted him as a coach's instructor. But throughout that season, like I was accompanying the team throughout the season. Whenever I would speak to Coach Arun, he would say that we have to play for a win. So that hasn't changed. He hasn't changed. Like what he was at the Ranji Trophy level as a coach, he hasn't changed. That is why he could mold Mohammad Siraj when he was a coach of Hyderabad Ranji team, and you see the results. Today we see stunning, and probably one of your best written chapters, like Mohammad Siraj.
Yeah, so I'll actually sort of, Aakash, that's the big strength of this book. Kushan has seen domestic cricket from such close quarters for donkey's years that he and I could compare notes. That, I have the backstories from these boys, the coaching staff. Kushan has seen domestic cricket, and we put our heart and soul into trying to sort of unearth the backstories. And one of them was Siraj. And I would want your thoughts on it. That will be the last question. I loved writing that chapter because when he took that flag, and here was this guy from Hyderabad. We know there is this issue about religion in India. He was a Muslim boy with the entire team behind him, carrying the tricolor. This is secular India talking. I mean, we are celebrating Mohammad Siraj, and we did. That was my idea of India. My idea of India, when Mohammad Siraj was going around the Gabba, yes, racist comments, yes, father's death, yes, all of it. And look at this boy. Dreams do come true. Miracles happen. And he, for me, I mean, the spirit that he showed at Lord's, the commitment, the passion is my India. I mean, Aakash Chopra blunting 20 overs of the new ball. Virendra Sehwag smashing. Sachin Tendulkar, 10 hours of resilience in Sydney. Mohammad Siraj carrying that flag. This is the continuing story of Indian cricket that makes me love this game. Aakash Chopra, final comments. Mohammad Siraj, and ultimately a game that we love that results in this mission domination. Aakash.
See, funnily enough, we in cricket and sport, this is what India is actually. India is, and it reflects, right? One of our most celebrated captain, one of the most senior guys happens to be a Muslim. That's Muhammad Azharuddin, right? When did we actually ever wonder what's the religion of the guy who's playing with me, against me, or sharing the dressing room? We've never spoken about it, Boria. Honestly, growing up, I have never heard anything like that, ever, anywhere in the Delhi dressing room or any dressing room that I've been a part of. There's never been a chatter at all, and I can like swear my life on it. That has never happened. So whatever stories are now being told by people about India, well, they don't know about sport for sure. So anyhow, moving from there, Siraj is a wonderful guy. I love him to bits, man. I know his story. I've spoken to him on a few occasions as well, and this means the world to him, and this team means the world to him, and he means the world to the team. That's the beauty of this sport. So there were quite a few things actually. The fifer that he took, it was Shardul Thakur who took the catch, and Shardul Thakur could have taken a 5th wicket and he could have had the fifer. But this team was always talking about, or rather the feeling that you get from the outside, we are not in the inner circle, that we enjoy each other's success. See, every great dressing room will have one common thread, Bori and Kushan, that I'm happy in my mate's success. I am competing with him. Don't mind you. I'm not taking it lying down that, you score more runs than me. I am going to compete. I'll score more than you do, but I don't wish you to get out on 10.
I want you to score 150, I'll score 200. You score 200, I'll get to 250. You take a 4 for, I'll take a 5 for. And I'll be very happy when you take a 5 for and I end up with 4 wickets. This is the DNA of a great dressing room. And this is where this team has reached. And therefore the results and inconsistency, I don't talk about inconsistency, because winning overseas is a miracle these days. Which team goes out and which team travels well? None. Nobody does. India is the only team that is in a position to do that, beating Australia twice at their backyard. Well, that's winning the World Cup for you. You talk about England, I think they should win it here if they play to their potential. And my mission domination will actually culminate when they beat South Africa in South Africa. This South Africa is beatable, yes, but this team, this Indian team has all the wares to go and beat South Africa comprehensively, not just compete and participate, but beat them comprehensively. And this is what we want to do. Go to New Zealand, beat them in their own backyard, because we do now have the players and the experience. So it's a beautiful stage that Indian cricket is in right now. Kudos to the right from, and again, this seed was sown when maybe early 2000s, Boria, Kushan, when Saurabh became the captain. There was a huge mind shift, or rather shift in the mindset that we need to prepare a team that's going to compete overseas. You started there, you've reached this far. So this team is also a product of Indian cricket. It's not just a team in isolation. This is a product of Indian cricket over a long period of time, because see, Australia also saw some great heights. West Indies did as well. Where are they right now? Are they not really struggling? They are. So the onus is on you, whether you want to continue improving, or you're happy and then you just gloat in your glory that, we have done this well and this is more than enough. Indian cricket hasn't stopped, will not stop. And this team is quite the flag bearer that you needed in this generation, that, we've got this flag, we're going to hoist it in every single continent and every single country that we go, because, and we'll keep your head held high and make you very proud that you're Indian. So this is a team that embodies all of that. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be in this generation. I've seen Indian cricket evolve over the last 20-25 years. And this is a beautiful space that we are in right now.
You now know after that answer why he is one of the most influential commentators that people love to listen to. As a great analyst, he's a dear friend. He's a dear friend. And I have pushed him, I've exploited him. Aakash, I have to have your time, all that. But never has he said no to me. And clearly, his mission domination, his social media handles, the multiple stuff that he keeps doing. People love it because he's perceptive, he's candid, he's honest, and he's bloody good. So make no mistake about it. Thank you very much, Aakash Chopra. Kushan, it's been an absolute pleasure working on this book with you. Trust me, I've written quite a few. No, I've written quite a few. I'm very proud of this effort. This is, I know you're doing more, can't be revealed on camera, but great work. And Oxford Bookstore, Nita and your team, thank you very much for doing this. You've sold quite a few copies. We are privileged and proud. Kushan and I will make some royalty. Aakash doesn't need much. So all of that is there. Simon & Schuster, always a publisher that I'd love to work with. We did 11 Gods. It was one of my best. Got the Ravindra Puraskar and much more. So plenty more to do. Aakash, I'll let you go. Would be delighted again day after tomorrow. These days I listen to parallel commentary, and that is you. So on Mission Domination. So Aakash is also a disruptor. And his mission is also to dominate. His mission is to dominate the commentary space.
My mission is to contribute, Boria. My mission is to contribute. That's it.
We'll celebrate Aakash Chopra as well. We keep doing so. Every time you open social media. And by the way, I do listen to Aakash Chopra's Mission Domination because a lot of my friends are there. And it's great fun. Great fun to always do a show with Aakash. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Aakash, Kushan, Simon & Schuster, and Oxford Bookstore. Pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much.